Okay, we're going to get started. Welcome to today's presentation, Tech Transformation, Unleashing Growth Through Modernization. We're so glad you're able to join us today. My name is Nancy Quello. I am in the marketing department at Markham Technology, and I will be your host for today's session. Before we get started, I do have a few housekeeping items to cover. Markham LLP and Markham Technology LLC have prepared these materials as part of an educational program. The information contained herein is of a general nature and is not intended to address the circumstances of any particular individual, entity, or case. While every effort has been made to offer current and accurate information, errors can occur. Furthermore, laws and regulations referred to in this program may change over time and should be interpreted only in the light of particular circumstances. The information presented here should not be construed as legal, tax, accounting, or valuation advice. No one should act on such information without appropriate professional advice after a thorough examination of a particular situation. Now, logistics. During today's program, you can submit questions to our presenter using the Q&A feature at the bottom of the Zoom platform. He will get to as many questions as he can towards the end of the presentation. We will also be emailing a copy of the slides and the link to the recording to all attendees post-event. If you would like to receive continuing professional education credits for CPAs for attending today's session, you will need to be active in the platform for a minimum of 50 minutes and answer 3 polling questions that will appear on your screen at random points during the presentation. Now, folks, if you have multiple screens, please be on the lookout throughout all of your screens because sometimes Zoom will have it on like a completely different monitor. So just be mindful of that. But if you do have any questions about the polling question or anything, feel free to shoot over a message on the Q&A feature or the chat feature on Zoom, and I'm more than happy to respond to those. Now, each poll will be active for 1 minute, so you have 1 minute to complete it. And so please select your answer throughout that minute, and that response will be tracked for obviously CPE purposes. Please also allow 24 to 48 hours for us to process your CPE credit. Now, without further ado, I will pass it along to Waqas here at Markham Technology. Waqas?
Thank you, Nancy. Welcome, everyone. I'm really excited to be here and share some of our thoughts around how to maximize growth, business growth, particularly using technology as a partner, as a tool. I'm Waqas Mahmood. I'm a director in our strategy consulting practice at Markham Technology. I'm based out of our DC office and excited to be here. Let's go to the next slide, please, Nancy. So just a quick background and context about both Markham, the LLP, Markham, which is the accounting firm, and also Markham Technology. Markham, the accounting firm, has been around since 1951. We came up as a technology advisory side in 2001. So as you can see, we both have locations associated to the technology office and also associate locations across the nation. So we are about 260 plus people in the technology advisory side, where the Markham accounting side is about 4,000 plus. So together we're pretty large as a group. We're ranked as number 12 in CPA accounting firms in the US, and we're top 24 as a value-added reseller in the technology side. Revenue-wise, you can see the comparison. So about $1 billion in our accounting side and about 50 million on the technology advisory side. The other thing I wanted to kind of highlight is at the bottom is all the industries that we serve. So there are things all the way from financial alternative investments, venture capital firms, private equity firms, to construction, hospitality, food and beverage, government. And there's also a huge nonprofit and social sector that we have out of our DC offices. Just a quick look at our different service offerings. So we have within Markham Technology sub-service areas like cloud and infrastructure solutions that looks at everything related to cloud management, cloud migration, and all things SaaS, like software as a service. Managed IT services focuses more on managing your IT infrastructure, application, staff, etc. Imagine that as an outsourced IT service practice. Cybersecurity and digital forensics, which is one of our really key pillars, focuses on cybersecurity, privacy controls, being our client's virtual chief information security officer, making sure they're going through cybersecurity due diligence if there's a transaction that's occurring, or they're able to gain cybersecurity governance and engineering certificates. We help with all those aspects of cyber security. Next one is digital consulting, and that is everything from automation, intelligent automation, like robotic process automation, data analytics and insights, blockchain, crypto. Those are some of those areas under digital consulting. And where I particularly sit is at the bottom. You see strategic consulting, and we look at assessing our clients' IT infrastructure, application, what I call IT ecosystems. We also provide virtual CIO or CTO as a service. So we are fractional CIOs and CTOs for our clients. We look at IT transformation. We look at creating a strategic roadmap with IT and technology, and we will get more into that later in the presentation. And the whole idea for the strategy consulting team is to have a business-led approach towards technology. So as we jump into the material, what I wanted to talk about is let's take a step back and look at the top trends that are in the technology space and on top of everybody's mind. Some of the things that you can see here is around datafication. So people are really using data and information that they have in their databases and some spreadsheets or some file somewhere. They're bringing all that information together and really trying to maximize the information that resides in that. The other thing I would call out is the cloud platform migration. So a lot of clients that are we work with have actual physical servers and devices that they manage, like what I call boxes and wires. They're moving to more cloud hosted solutions. So there's that trend has been around for a while, and it still continues to be a big mover, especially in the mid-market or middle market space. There's the other, buzzwords, generative AI. So AI is definitely, one of the top trends we're looking at, and we'll get more into that piece later in the presentation. But in order to reach a level of using those generative AI type of advanced technologies, there's a lot of foundational work that needs to happen. So with that, let's go to the next one. And so this is an interesting picture we wanted to share, as I'm sure a lot of you, if you're like me, I love fast food. Sometimes on the road, it's easy to go in and grab a quick bite, and you have seen these kiosks that are self-service kiosks, at least at McDonald's as an example here. And what happens here is, like, one, the technology is being piloted and being used by the customers. There's less friction in terms of people behind the counter understanding the customer needs, etc. And it's also just kind of makes things super fast. There are also mobile applications that are now available where you can make your orders as well. So similarly, Starbucks has the same kind of concept, not necessarily the self-service kiosks, but Starbucks app. I know I use it a lot in order to advance my my order at those locations, so I can go in there and grab my drink and be out. What this kind of combination helps is, let's go to the next one, Nancy, please. If we combine, again, data, as I was talking about datafication, that you grab the information from the customer's order, right? So you're getting order frequency and nature. That gives you customer loyalty. So you understand, what do they really buy? What is their food preference? What day of the week do they normally come and buy stuff? What is the profitability of these orders? So that one piece of information that we can combine and get some intel. There's also the aspect aspect of capturing external factors, right? So what is the weather of the day? What is the traffic pattern? Is there some ebbs and flows in terms of months, right? Is it summertime more busy or spring? Like which seasonality is also another external factor that you can combine. And when you combine these type of internal and external factors, what you can do is you can be better about staffing. So you make sure that you have enough employees to serve that day. You have enough inventory or raw material in stock and what it does is actually combining all that information that you're offsetting waste and spoilage that you may have. So this totally and has directly an impact to your bottom line when it comes to leveraging technology and data, in this case as an example, to continue growing. All right, so kind of what I wanted to talk about a little bit about business models, right? So you hear a lot about there are different types of macroeconomic trends, and that helps develop new business models. And some of the ones that we are talking about here are, again, the Great Resignation, what we call it, where the workforce has either it's hard to find people or if it's hard to retain them. That has been continuing on since I would say the pandemic and even through that. The other piece is around increased demand. So there is definitely a lot of the customer buying power is there. There's, or at least the desire to buy new consumer products, and also in food and beverage industry, I really serve a lot closely to. There's the next one is the high inflation. So the cost of borrowing, the cost of capital is up there. There's definitely, again, one external factor is the war aspect, right? So there's things that are in a lot of tension in the Middle East that impacts supply chains, impacts customers' buying behavior or their focus on product A versus B, etc. With that, there's last one I want to talk about is the rising digital competition. So there are a lot of tech-enabled businesses out there, or businesses now with a tech aspect to it. So there is a lot of digital competition. So we saw that with the kind of taken back and going back in time is looking at the dot-com boom. Similar to that, now you have a lot of digital enabled businesses out there that's creating a lot of competition, and you have to be competitive in that space. And what we would like to do is kind of, let's go to the next one, Nancy, please. Looking at the business model as we were talking about. So what is the new business model? The new business model is focused on the profitability in a specific market. So you look at your market, where you sit and where you serve. What is the value proposition that you are providing back to your customers? And who are your customers, right? So identifying the personas of those customers, and then identifying what products and services each persona would buy. All of that is enabled by, let's go to the next one, please, Nancy. Technology, as you can see right in the middle. So that's where technology sits in those cross sections of markets, geographies, products and services, and also your customers. This takes us to our first polling question. Nancy, I'll hand this over to you.
Thanks, Waqas. So folks, our first polling question of the day is, how many technology-related initiatives does your organization have in progress? 0 to 1, 2 to 3, 4 to 7, or more than 7? Now, folks, as a reminder, we will have only 1 minute in order to respond to this polling question. And in order to be eligible for CBE, you would need to respond to at least 3 polling questions. So if you haven't responded yet, you have about 30 seconds or so in order to respond. And 15 more seconds, folks. Now remember, folks, if you have multiple monitors, please be sure to look at all screens, because the Zoom has a tendency of just popping it up surprisingly. And we are done with our 1 minute mark, and here are the results.
Excellent, thank you. So let's go. It's just a picture we wanted to share just to show you that before before computers, before technology, what would an accounting room look like, right? So definitely taking a lot of manpower, a lot of manual work, a lot of manual validation, checking, reconciliation, all that good stuff. So that has obviously we have seen a massive change in that. That way of doing things, right? So we are on another cutting edge, at the edge of another technology intersection where now you have AI enabled, artificial intelligence enabled solutions where a lot of this can be then offset further. Let's go to the next slide, please, Nancy. So this one, what we would like to kind of look at some frameworks. As being in consulting, we love frameworks, we love methodologies, and one of the ways I think we really enjoy this stuff is it helps our clients follow the thought process that we have put in place through best practices, through industry standards, and so on. And in this particular case, we're just talking about digital modernization. So how do you really build a modernized or up-to-date technology stack, like your applications, your infrastructure, your practices, your processes and controls, your organization? So as I was referring to as your IT ecosystem. So the first and foremost is what you have to do is kind of develop that transformation roadmap and your business case around that. Like, why are you changing something from a technology perspective? Is it just to get a new shiny tool, or is this new shiny tool is going to help you drive some business growth? So really define that. Next piece is around aligning your data and your processes and your business needs to that objective. So what are the things that are going to be in scope as we modernize and move forward? We want to make sure the environment that we're trying to build with this new and new technology solutions is secure. You have the right cyber controls there. You have the right, even people administrating those assets. Next piece is around selecting and enabling an application platform. So what do we mean by that is your systems need to integrate with each other. They need to talk to each other. So enterprise resource planning, ERP, is an example that can handle your inventory management side. It can handle your purchasing. Some ERPs can also handle your finance and accounting side. All those pieces need to work together. If you're using a customer relationship management tool, they need to work together. So really finding the right applications that sit together and work as a platform is important. Then we go into installing the data analytics layer. So what we do is basically when these systems are talking, there's a lot of data that we need to gather, or we have actually access to that data, so that we should gather and drive some intel out of that. Last piece is adopting, appropriate emerging technologies as you go, continue on this cycle. So let's look at step one, as I was describing, develop your digital roadmap. So what we think is like, change is driving the business and technology divergence. There is a need to seek a roadmap that can create alignment over time to your business and technology needs. So it doesn't have to happen within 5 months, 6 months, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It is, to us, it is definitely a journey. It is a roadmap. So you need to approach it that way as well. A digital alignment, it will create this reinforced feedback loop between business and tech, so you can continue to get some intel and make sure that you're moving in the right direction or not. So this roadmap is not what I call one and done. It's something that continues on as a journey as you map this out. Next one, please. So this is where we now start to align some of our data and business processes. You can have the best tools out there, and if your business processes or practices are not standardized, aligned, documented even, it's really hard to maximize the benefit of that technology. So like really prioritize your focus on creating that value that's driven through your data. What it does is it starts to help you increase your revenue, definitely helps you with your margins, and your customer stickiness, supply chain gets more efficient. So it pays dividends in a lot of ways. It creates a differentiation between you and your competition. So there's definitely that business differentiation piece that comes out. as well. Next one, please. Securing the environment. So you want to make sure that this new environment that you're creating, or the ones you have even at current state, is protected from cyber attacks. And those things are getting what I would say more advanced. They are becoming these bad actors are getting really good at finding loopholes, cracks in the system, if you will, gaps. They're able to reach out to your customers and your vendors and act like they're you. So your vendors and partners sometimes are attacked because you may had a breach, and vice versa, right? So it could happen from your partners and vendors, and you can be feeling that crunch when getting those kind of attacks and emails where they're trying to spam you and so on. What we also kind of wanted to highlight, this type of incident can go up to about $250,000 in remediation cost, if you will, or mitigation cost. So there's definitely real dollars attached to this. It does impact your business continuity, so there's a downtime aspect there. And one thing for sure is that reputational risk, right? So your brand can be at risk, and we have seen a lot of that stuff happen over the years, where massive, well-known brands will have these type of cyber breaches and data breaches, and not only PII data, personal information data, but either their IP can be breached, right? So intellectual property of how they do things, and that their secret sauce, if you will. So there's a lot of impacts that these cyber risks pose to the business. Just wanted to kind of highlight some trends, and this is kind of going back to like a couple of years, and it continues on that there is an uptake in these attacks. So you can see, education research side, 75%, right? And I think one of the things I would like to always look at is consultants. So we're even at consulting firms level, those attacks are up by 73%. So there's a massive, uptake in people becoming more sophisticated, and there are advanced technology solutions that you hate to say help cyber attacks and these bad actors to get into the systems. So the more robust controls you have in your IT environment, the better it is for yourself and for also your customers and also employees at the end. Let's go to the next one. So this brings us to the next polling question. Nancy, I'll hand this over to you.
Thank you, Waqas. So our second polling question of the webinar: when was the last time you conducted a cybersecurity audit? 6 months ago, 6 to 12 months ago, 13 to 24 months ago, longer than 24 months ago, or never? Now remember, folks, we have 1 minute to complete, and we are now at our 30-second mark. So please submit your responses within the next 30 seconds. Less than 10 seconds, folks, for those who have not submitted your response. Okay. So it looks like there's a tie between less than 6 months ago, 6 to 12 months ago, and then the third contender would be never.
It's great to see that from the audience here, and for sure, I mean, there's so you can see there's definitely a lot of room for improvement where the folks have never conducted this, or not been involved maybe in one recently. So the best practice is definitely keep your cyber security controls, and you don't have to conduct an audit that frequent, but you definitely want to have your team refresh their practices around cyber attacks. So getting better intel around spam emails or phishing scams, etc., is really important. Well, great. Let's go to the next slide, please. Thank you, Nancy. So step 4. Now, this is where we talk about selecting and enabling an application platform. So your core technologies support sales and marketing, operations, finance, HR, among some of some of the other areas. And what you want to do is you want to have systems that you talk to each other really well. What we have seen is what we call a fragmented approach. Sometimes is when clients go in with the approach of like, well, hey, my finance and accounting system is not working, so I'm going to go ahead and get a new finance and accounting system. But what happens is that their HR system, if they have one, is antiquated typically, or if they're using an ERP like enterprise resource planning tool, that's out of date or out of support. Those systems are not talking to the new finance and accounting system, so they end up making a lot of like what I call again band-aid solutions to make them talk to each other. So the best approach is again, which is why we're sharing this framework, is take a step back and build a roadmap before you jump in and start with that fragmented approach of changing one system and leaving the others as is and so on. What it does is really helps build a more flexible and adaptable organization. It helps with decision making, and I think more like intelligent decision making, so you can capture how well you're shipping an equipment. Let's say you're in the food manufacturing or any sort of consumer product or retail manufacturing business. You want to be able to capture some intel around how is my shipment being received at the client's end? Are they receiving exactly what they've ordered? What is the customer satisfaction side? So all those data points can be captured in your core applications and systems, and then you can make better decisions around budgeting and forecasting as well. Let's go to the next one, please. Installing data analytics. So kind of a good segue into this step is taking all that information from your integrated systems. You can start to create self-service, what we call self-service business intelligence layer. So self-service BI is where you can build data analytics and dashboards based on your role in the organization. So if you're in sales, you're really focused on that aspect of the organization. You capture all those data points, understand who you're selling your products to, understanding where the overall organization the company wants to go, where the product lines are going, and so on and so forth. And if you're in the finance and accounting side, I bet there are financial reports that you would love to grab today that may take longer than they should, and a self-service BI type of model or in that data analytics layer can alleviate a lot of that. Let's go to the next one, please. So what this one kind of shares some perspective on how analytics are not just information. So as you can see, it's information which is looking at just historic data, what has been done, or what I call reactive analytics sometimes, or diagnostic analytics becomes more predictive and prescriptive analytics as it gets into more advanced. And as you can see, the value proposition also increases for that data. So that data is starting to become more of a foresight into your business. What is in the future you would like to sell? What is in the future you want to grab as a customer base or a geography or market? If you're in a private equity side of things, what would be an ideal portfolio for you in the future based on your previous risk threshold, interest, and so on. So data can be then dissected and diced and sliced in a way that becomes truly optimized and forward looking. Next one is adopting your emerging technologies. So be very selective when you go and start to experiment with new technologies. And the whole idea is sometimes we jump into these shiny tools like generative AI, chatbots, IoT, and so on. It's again back to that fragmented approach a little bit, right? So just adopt the right emerging technology that has a business driver behind it. What is so meaningful for you to get this new tech, new tool, new solution? All of that has to be driven through a business lens, and that's where we want to talk about that tech transformation drives that business growth if you think it through a framework like this that we're sharing. There is definitely, this is I think a key slide for us to focus on, talking about like how are you creating that competitive advantage. So if your technologies are talking to each other, you have the right set of models and processes around it, you are secure, so your business continuity and disaster recovery is mapped out, you can start to support your, and align the business model to the changing conditions that you have externally to the organization. You can target the right customers in the right markets, and provide the right products and services out there. It helps speed the executive decision making, as we have it here, that the senior leadership actually has data driven decisions that they drive towards and push and communicate to the rest of the organization. It's not one person's voice is louder than the other. It's the data making all those decisions for the executives, as well as I think it just kind of really helps the employees to be fully bought in to any initiative when it's driven through factual information. And getting customer loyalty is a big one, right? So we want to be able to get the right clients and create that stickiness with them. All in all, this is really driving your business into a space where you're competitive, you're ahead of your competitors, and also you're providing the right products. Let's go to the next one, please. Polling question, Nancy, I'll pause.
Thanks, Waqas. And our third polling question: what are the key components for building a digital transformation plan? Assessing current IT ecosystem, capturing and documenting current business process, creating a roadmap of opportunities for quick wins, short and long term, or all of the above. So we have 30 more seconds for folks to complete this polling question. I would have to say, looking at the stats currently, it's the overwhelming amount of people who selected a specific response, but I don't want to spoil it for the folks. So 15 more seconds, we're going to have to close down this polling question. So it looks like an overwhelming amount of folks have responded all of the above. Waqas, is that a fair? I know there's probably not a correct answer to this polling question, but if there were to be, would this be it?
I think so, and I'm glad to see that from the audience, because it is definitely not a one or two prong approach. You gotta follow that framework methodology. You have to really understand what your current IT ecosystem is, and capture the business processes that you want to look at and standardize them, and then of course creating that strategic roadmap afterwards. So, yay, awesome.
Great. And now our last polling question for this afternoon or this morning for our West Coast folks. Would you like to learn more information about this presentation? Yes or no? Now, folks, we are wrapping up this presentation, but if you do have any questions, please feel free to use our chat feature as well as our Q&A feature on Zoom if you would like to ask anything directly to Waqas. And there is 30 more seconds left to respond to the last polling question. Okay. We did receive a question, Waqas. The question was, and this was during that cybersecurity component and the importance of cybersecurity. Would you say that AI has contributed to the increase of cyber attacks, especially given how sophisticated these attacks have been?
I would say yes. That's what I have seen as well, and one of the reasons are people are becoming more educated about these new tools. There's also a lot of the open platform concept in this space where people are able to jump onto OpenAI, for example, and ChatGPT and create a lot of models. There are a lot of scripts out there on GitHub and other places where people with even basic development knowledge can go and walk through how to create a cyber attack, right? How can create a robo email, or even a robo voicemail that they can use through a Google chat, account. So there's a lot of ways that, that advanced technology is also creating opportunities for the bad actors. At the same time, that same set of advanced technologies can help you counterbalance that and attack, or at least, build that strong wall, if you will, in from a cybersecurity perspective.
Great. So we did not receive any additional questions after that. However, if folks do have any questions afterwards, how can they, is this the best way of getting in contact with you?
Yeah, thank you for sure. Thanks everyone for attending our session today. Happy to take any questions or calls. Here's my contact info on your screen. Feel free to also reach out to Nancy and our other marketing folks. There's no reason for us to be in an engagement to answer your questions. We're happy to talk about that, whenever you have any concerns. And we like partnerships with our clients, so it's not necessarily us starting to bill hours, and that's not the approach we have at Markham. We would like to build good solid relationship with our clients, and most of our engagements start off with very simple, basic, high level conversations, and then turn into a long engagement where we are partnering with them throughout the roadmap we talked about, through their digital journey. So that's always our interest and on top of our minds. So I'm available anytime over email, and I also have my cell number here as well. So thank you for joining.
Thank you, Waqas, and thank you, to echo Waqas's comments, thank you all that have joined us. And I know that we are a little bit early from our presentation. That is okay. I'm sure no one's going to complain about having an extra few minutes in a day, back. Right? Exactly. Yeah. So feel free, please enjoy your time back. As far as the CPE is concerned, not to worry. As long as you answer those 3 polling questions, you have been considered as fulfilled into your CPE requirements. Other than that, again, thank you, Waqas, and more importantly, thank you everyone for joining us. Feel free to visit our website, and if you are interested in attending additional webinars that Markham is hosting, the website is www.markhamevents.com, and there are a variety of events on there. It could be technology related, it could be accounting related, in-person webinar format, CPE, non-CPE. Essentially, there's a lot of diversity as far as our events are concerned. But nevertheless, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of the time that you are able to take back, and we hope to see you soon. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.